Hello everyone, today I'm back for another Minecraft statue tutorial. Today we're going to be building Cheetah from DC Comics. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this started. So to build Cheetah, you are going to need smooth sandstone stairs. Oh, I grabbed them in the wrong order. Sponge, black wool, black concrete, stripped acacia wood, red concrete, white wool, orange wool, and stripped dark oak wood. So once you have all those together, we can go ahead and begin. So for the first row of Cheetah, we're going to do an entire row of 8 with your sponges. You're then going to get out your smooth sandstone stairs. We're going to place one on the ends. And then we're going to place one in kind of these two inner but not middle blocks. This next row, we're going to make entirely sponge again. The next row, we're going to do 4 sponges, 1 black wool, 3 sponge. Next row, 7 sponges, 1 black wool. Next row, 1 sponge, 1 black wool, and the rest is just sponge. Next row, we're going to do 5 sponges, 1 black wool, 2 sponge. Next row is entirely sponge. Next row, we're going to do 3 sponge, 1 black wool, rest is sponge, so 4. Next row, 1 black wool, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sponges, 1 black wool, 1 sponge. And then this next row, we're going to do 2 sponges, 4 black concrete, 2 sponges. And then the final 2 rows are entirely black concrete. So that is the front of Cheetah's legs. So now moving on to the torso. We are going to do 2 black concretes, 4 sponges, 2 black concretes. And then if you want to, you can go ahead and do 2 sponge coming out here and a black concrete on the end. You can go and do the exact same thing on the other side. Cave sound. So going back to the torso, we're going to do 6 sponges, 1 black wool, 1 sponge. Next row, 2 sponges, 1 black wool, rest is sponge. Next row, entire row sponge. Next row, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sponge, 1 black wool, 2 sponge. The next, I think 4 rows? 3 rows, my bad. Next 3 rows are entirely black concrete. There we go. Next row, 3 black concrete, 2 sponge, 3 black concrete. Next row, 2 sponge, 1 black wool, rest is sponge. Next row, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 sponge, 1 black wool, rest is sponge, so 3. And then we're going to do 2 sponge, 4 black concrete, 2 sponge. And that is the front of the torso. So, actually, I did this 1 block over. It's actually supposed to be right here. My apologies. So, we can go ahead and put the kind of dangling hair down. So, place 2 temporary blocks right here. And then we're going to place 2 acacia woods right here. Do the same thing on the other side. Like so. We're then going to do this 2 more times right underneath it. And then we're going to do the farther out block once more. So like this. And you're going to want it going down. You don't want it going back in like that, or you don't want this texture. So there we go. Now on for the left arm, we're going to do 2 rows of black concrete. We're going to do an entire row of sponge. This next row, we're going to put a black wool in the middle. Just go ahead and surround that. We're going to do 2 additional rows of sponge on top of that. And then we're going to do a black wool in the end here with 2 sponges. Then do an entire row of sponge. Then 2 sponge, 1 black wool. And then the top row is sponge. So there we go. Other arm is kind of similar. We're going to do 2 rows of black concrete. Then we're going to do an entire row of sponge. Then on this second row, we're going to put a black wool in the end. Rest of the row sponge. Entire row of sponge. This next row, we're going to put one in the middle. You can go and surround that. We're going to do an additional row. And then we're going to put a black wool on this very left block on this one. Rest of the row sponge. This second to last row is entirely sponge. And on the very top row, this very top corner block is black wool. And the rest is sponge. Sorry about the coughing. I am severely congested right now. So yeah, that is the front of Cheetah. Besides the head, of course. So, moving on to, let's go to the left side of the leg. We're going to bring this back by 1 with the black wool, and then 2 with the sponge. We're then going to do an entire row of sponge on top of that. Then we're going to do 2 sponge, 1 black wool. Next row, entire row of sponge. Next row, 1 black wool, 2 sponge. Next row, 1 sponge, 1 black wool, 1 sponge. Next row, entire row of sponge. Next row, 2 sponge, 1 black wool. And then these next 2 rows are entirely sponge, and then we're going to do 2 rows of black concrete. Regarding this arm here, we're going to bring back the hands by 3, and then the gloves. And just going to fill in the sides of the gloves. We're then going to place 1 black wool. We're going to go right to left. So 1 black wool, 2 sponge. Entire row sponge. 2 sponge, 1 black wool. Entire row sponge. 1 sponge, 1 black wool, 1 sponge. Entire row sponge. 2 sponge, 1 black wool. Entire row sponge. And this final row, 1 black wool in the middle, just sponge around it. And then for the shoulders, you can just fill these in with a 2x2 block and place a black wool right there. So, regarding the other side, we're going to come back down here. We're going to place 1 black wool here as well with 2 sponge. Next row, entirely sponge. Next row, 1 sponge, 1 black wool, 1 sponge. Next row, next 2 rows are entirely sponge. Next row, 1 black wool, 2 sponge. Next row, 2 sponge, 1 black wool. Next row, entirely sponge. Next row, 1 black wool in the middle with sponge all around that. And then we're going to do 2 entire rows of just black concrete. And then for this side, we're just going to fill in the bottom of the hands there, bring the concrete back. Like this. And then we are going to do 1 sponge, 1 black wool, 1 sponge. Next 3 rows are entirely sponge. Next row, we're going to do 2 sponge here and a black wool in the end. Next row, 1 black wool, 2 sponge. Next row is entirely sponge. And the next row is 1 sponge, 1 black wool, 1 sponge. And then the rest is just sponge. And then do the shoulders again, and we're going to knock out this block and place a black wool there. So, regarding the back of the legs, the bottom row is entirely sponge. Next row from left to right, we're going to do 1, 2, 3 sponge, 1 black wool, 2 sponge. Next row, entirely sponge. Next row, 1 black wool. Rest of the row is entirely sponge. Next row, 1, 2, 3, 4 sponge, 1 black wool, 1 sponge. Next row, 2 sponge, 1 black wool, rest is sponge. Next row is entirely sponge. Next row is entirely sponge as well, so I guess 2 rows. And then we're going to place 1 sponge, 1 black wool, rest is sponge. And then we're going to do 1 sponge on the ends of the row, and then 4 black concretes in the middle. And then we are going to fill in these last 2 rows of black concrete. So for the back of the torso, we're going to place 2 black concretes on back here, just kind of mirroring the front. And then we're going to fill in the middle here with just sponge. On this next row, we're going to place 2 sponge, 1 black wool, rest is sponge. Next row, 1 black wool, 1, 2, 3, 4 sponge, 1 black wool, 2 sponge. And then this next row is entirely sponge. Next row, we're going to do a sponge on the ends of the row. And then we're going to fill this middle area in with black concrete. We are then going to fill 1, 2, 3, and 4 rows with just black concrete. And then we're just going to fill in this top area here. This is not going to be shown, so there's no point in putting her spots on it. Back of the arms, just fill in the back of the glove. When it comes to the spots, we're going to place 1 here in the middle. So we're going to do entire row of sponge. In this next row, we're going to place black wool here, and then go ahead and surround that. And then we're pretty much just going to place a black wool in this very corner up here, and then the rest is going to be entirely sponge. It's like that. Other side is similar. We're going to fill in the back of the glove. Then we're going to place a black wool here, fill in all around that, up to here, right here. We're going to place a black wool here. Go ahead and fill around that as well. And we're going to place a black wool in this corner and just fill around that. So you should have something that looks like this. So now regarding the hair back here, so you will need to place some temporary blocks and place them underneath, just like this. And while we're here, this is where the head is going to be, obviously. So if we want to go ahead and just place another row of temporary blocks, yeah, right here, I guess, we can go ahead and just do the back 2 rows of the head while we're here. It's like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down an additional 2 rows and just fill this entire area in. We are then going to go down another 3 rows, but we're going to go in a row. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. And go ahead and fill all that in. Do this again by 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Fill this all in. And then we're just going to do 2 right here. Now for her tail, we're going to put a 2 by 2 square of sponge right here. And we're going to bring this back an additional 3. Kind of similar to what we did in the Killer Croc tutorial, we're going to make this kind of cube inside of it. Do this again. And then we're going to bring this one outward a little bit. And then we are going to bring it down another cube. And 1 more cube. So like this. And then we are going to put black wool on the end back here. And then you can go and just dot it however you please. I didn't really have a specific pattern set for this. So that'll probably do. All right. So now for the head. The head's probably the easiest part, honestly. So we'll fill in these 2 blocks here just so we can have temporary blocks there. We're going to bring this forward on top of the hair here. Pretty much the entire head is entirely acacia wood besides the front of her face. So we're going to go ahead and just bring the hair up by 7. And we're just going to fill all this in with acacia wood. Now we will have to add her ears, which, I mean, isn't very hard to add. but this is basically what we're going to do until then. And I didn't give her any accessories. I know in some comics she has like a staff or a spear, but I figured it'd probably just make more sense if she was just without accessories since it's Cheetah. So, and then the back is entirely wood as well, and so is the top. Yeah, we're almost 50 subscribers, guys. So yeah, if you guys want to see Marvel or MCU statue tutorials, yeah, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And yeah, I will definitely do them. And it looks like Thunderbolts did win. So yeah, Thunderbolts, if we do get to 50 subscribers, that will be first. So, but anyways, so before we do the face, go ahead and knock out 3 of these blocks right here, and we're going to place sponge. And then right above that, we're going to place 2 going up like this, but they're going outward. And we're going to place 2 more behind it, and then kind of this curve right behind there. So that is her ear, or her ears. They're about to be plural. The same thing here. It's like so. So regarding the face, what we're going to do is we're going to get our sponge, and we're going to do an entire row of sponge right here. And we're just going to go ahead and bring that forward an additional row. We can go ahead and place a temporary block right here and just bring the acacia wood all the way up. Like so. So for the second row, we're going to place 2 red concretes in the middle here, and the rest of the row is just sponge. This next row, we're going to place black wools on the ends of the row, and then sponge in the middle here. The next row, we're going to place 1 white wool on the ends of the row, an orange wool next to those, and 2 sponge in the middle. The next row, we're going to place 2 stripped spruce wood, or two stripped dark oak wood, next or on top of the eyes, and just 2 sponge in the middle. The next row, we're going to place 1 black wool here and 1 black wool here, so on the left blocks of the eyebrows. And then we're going to place sponge everywhere else. And then this final row, we're just going to fill this in with sponge. Actually, this is the final row. There we go. So we're going to place a temporary block right here and right here. And we're going to place an acacia wood on top of those. And we are going to drag this up to the second to last block, like so. And then we're going to place some temporary blocks here and here to kind of this shape right here. And we're going to bring this over, and then up and just over like this. And once you've done that, you should have your finished statue. So yeah, let me get rid of my hand here. And here she is. So yeah, that is Cheetah, guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Cheetah was a pretty easy statue to build. I really just built a sponge statue and then just dotted it with black wool. So, but yeah, guys, thank you guys all for watching. The next tutorial will be Mad Hatter, from the villains. I'll keep posting more JSA, kind of statues, but anyways, guys, yeah, thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye-bye.